Hi, welcome to More Yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. I thought today we get a little bit playful, getting into the hips a little bit, testing the balance. That'll fill up half an hour. So why don't we start lying down on our backs? You can maybe hug the knees into the chest and take a little rock from side to side, or shake out whatever you need to shake out. And then we're going to start in a supine butterfly. So knees bent, and then bring the soles of the feet together so the knees go out wide, if you're imagining like butterfly wings. Now this can be quite intense. I get it. So if you have pillows or blocks or something that you want to bring underneath the thighs or the knees so that you have a little bit of lift, right? It takes some of the gravity out of the pose, then you're more than welcome to do that. I know some of you would really like to add weight to it. So you can rest your hands on your thighs. If you have a variation where you tie yourself up with a strap, you're welcome to go for bound butterfly. And then take the arms out wide. Wrap the shoulder blades onto the back. And then simply breathe here. For 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh. Your breath away. A couple more. Continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. Notice how your breath is flowing. If it feels really open and spacious. Or maybe you notice some sticky or choppy spots along the way. In which case you might gently try to lengthen through those parts just to smooth your breath out a little bit more. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly start to draw your thighs back toward each other. You can use your hands. Maybe you heel into the feet out a little bit as you do this, and then take your feet mat width apart and allow the knees to hang in toward each other for a couple breaths. Just getting a little release on that stretch, even a little bit of a counter stretch, although not a huge one. And then start to windshield wiper your knees from one side to the other. So bringing a little bit of movement now into those hip sockets, those wonderful ball and socket joints. Next time both of your knees are over to the right, pause there. And this might feel like enough of a little twist, a little bit of a release through the front of that left hip in particular. If you would like a little bit more, you might pick up the right ankle and gently cross it over top of the left thigh, not right at the knee, but just above the knee at the thigh. And then you can either just let the weight of the legs hang, really passive, or maybe you squeeze that left bum. Think of lifting that left hip flexor or the front of the hip up to the sky. Maybe you reach the left arm back and to the left. Oh, this is making me yawn because it feels so delicious. Last couple breaths here. And then gently unhook the thigh if it's, or the ankle if it's hooked over. And then inhale back to center. And then exhale your knees over to the left. So same thing, just see how it feels. Maybe it just feels great to be here with the feet separated. Maybe you gently hook that left ankle over top of the right thigh. Maybe you let that just dangle, or maybe you squeeze the bum a little bit more on that right side to lift that right hip bone up to the sky. You can reach the right arm back and up to the right. One more breath here. And then if the ankle is crossed over top, gently uncross it. Inhale back to center. Hug your knees toward you, and let's take a little rock from side to side. You can massage at the base of the spine and the pelvis. You might start to do egg beater legs here. Or frog legs, or whatever feels good. And then reach your legs, or your feet up to the sky. Knees can be deeply bent. They don't have to be straight. Then start to point and flex through the ankles, the toes, maybe the arms reach up as well. And then we're going to start to shake here. Shake everything. And you're going to be here kind of an uncomfortably long time, but that's okay because I'm doing it too. Shake, 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 shake. As furious or as gentle as you want to, but it's definitely shaky and wobbly. We're going to go for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause, and then just notice the tingling, the vibrations. And then bend your knees. Some of you are going to feel awesome rocking and rolling up and down your spine. However it feels good for you to come up and then come into hands and knees. Knees underneath hips, toes tucked or untucked. And let's just do a couple cat and cow undulations. Dipping the belly on the inhale, exhaling to round through the spine. And then gently come back to center. A little draw of belly button to spine, toes tucked, and then pick up the left leg. You're going to reach the ankle back, or the heel back rather, toes to the floor, and then make sure you're not lifting so high that you're caving into the lower back, right? Press the lower ribs up to the sky. That heel will lower. Some of you might stay here. Some of you might reach the right arm forward and up. This is a really great place to bring a chip foam block or something like that underneath the right knee. Keep pressing the floor away with your left hand. And then think thumb to the sky, palm facing the left with that right hand. One more inhale here. As you exhale, round a little ball, bringing elbow, knee, and nose toward each other. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, round. And then bring your right hand back to the floor. Bend that left knee, and then start to draw circles here with the left leg in the hip socket. You can draw figure eights. They can be really small. You can be huge. Just explore the range of motion in that hip joint. And then on your next exhale, step the left foot forward and back knee is down. I'm going to put a block under there. And then inhale, come up for half kneeling. All right, hope everyone's doing well with this. Hug the legs toward each other, squeeze the bum, belly button to spine, shift forward into that front knee. Really squeeze the bum on that back leg. You could be here just beautifully upright, not in a super deep lunge, particularly if you'd like that more active variation. of the lunge today. Some of you maybe start to bend a little bit more into that front knee. It's harder to squeeze the bum on that back leg, but it's really important that you do that. Still hugging the legs toward each other slightly, so you're not just hanging out, right? In the ligaments and the fascia. Last couple of breaths in your lunge, whatever it looks like. Good. And then slowly back out of it a little bit. Send the hips back, extending through the front leg, half splits. Just for a couple breaths. If you're up here, that's great. If you want to slide out a little bit more, slide out where you'd like to be. Just make sure there's buoyancy on that front knee. Last breath here. And then slowly bend that front knee and then heel and toe it out to the left. As then you come up to gate pose. That front foot, the toes can be facing forward. Some people really like toes out to the side. I find that quite hard on my ankle. And you want your knee on the right side and the foot more or less in line. Maybe heel to knee will give you a little bit more space. And then think of wrapping that left hip forward, right hip back, little squeeze of the bum, belly button to spine. Inhale the arms high. Exhale, little side stretch over to the left, right, without collapsing into the left side of the body. So think of keeping it long, or as long as possible. Wrap both shoulders onto your back. Inhale back up. Bring your hands to the earth and step back to hands and knees again. Little wiggle, little shake, whatever you need to do. And then if you're using a chip foam block, bring it underneath your left knee. And then step your right leg back to start with. Toes to the floor, belly button to spine. That's a great place to stay. Maybe you de-weight that leg, really active through the lifted leg. Again, make sure it's not too high. You don't want to dip through the belly. Right? Plant that left hand. Last option is to reach the right arm. Forward and up, thumb to the sky. Sorry, left arm, palm to the right. Couple more breaths here. And then as you exhale, curl into a little ball. Inhale, lift back up. Here you can dip the belly a little bit if you wish, coming into kind of a cow. One last one. And then bring your hands back to the floor. Bend your right knee. And then start to take those hip circles. All right, maybe one side feels totally different from the other side. That is normal. Last breath here. All right, I think we stepped through right away, didn't we? Well, if we didn't, we can fix it. On your inhale, step the right foot forward and then come on up to half kneeling. Hug the legs toward each other. Squeeze the bum, belly button to spine, shift forward. Again, you're welcome to stay here really upright, so long as you just feel the front of the hip on the left side. Some of you might sink a little bit deeper. Maybe you have hands on blocks. Again, so long as you're not just hanging out here, right? Squeeze the bum on the back leg, little hug of the legs toward each other. Maybe your arms are overhead. Back toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever feels good for you. Last 2 breaths here. And then on your exhale, shift your hips back, extending through the front leg. Hands could be on hips, on blocks, or on the floor. If you have a deeper variation of splits, you're welcome to slide out. Otherwise, stay here with me, wrapping that left hip forward, drawing the right hip back. A little micro bend in that front knee. One more inhale. One sweet exhale. Okay, bend into that front knee again, and then start to heel into the front foot out, all the way out to the right. Again, heel to knee alignment is probably going to be easiest on the hips, and then hug the legs toward each other, squeeze the bum, particularly on that left side. Inhale the arms high, exhale, little side bend to the right. If you feel that that hip is cramping, think of dropping it down a little bit. And you don't have to fold so far sideways. You might even turn the foot out a little bit, and that will ease the cramping on the hip, right? Because it's not really the foot that's turning out, it's the femur that's externally rotating. Last breath here. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands to the earth, hands and knees. Little wiggle, little shake. Cat and cow if you'd like to. Some of you might rest in child's pose. Some of you might prefer to take downward facing dog. Go wherever you need to go for about 3, 4, 5 breaths. And then if you're on hands and knees or in child's pose, meet us in downward facing dog. I want you to bend your knees quite a bit here, and then send both heels over to the right, lifting that left hip a little bit more, maybe looking under the left armpit. And then inhale, back to center. And then both heels to the left, all 10 toes to the right, bending the knees, maybe looking under that right armpit, lift the hip a little bit more. And then inhale, back to center, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top edge of the mat. Standing forward fold, head heavy, neck long. Knees can be so deeply bent, it doesn't matter. You might sway a little bit. Maybe it feels really good just to be still today. Last few breaths. And then fingertips to shins. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. 2 more. And bend your knees. Slowly start to roll up to standing. 1 vertebra at a time. Knees bent the entire time. Head heavy, arms heavy. So you're getting lots of spinal flexion before you come all the way up to standing. Couple loops of the shoulders, up, back, and down. Little wiggle, release, shake it out. Whew, that feels pretty good. My hips are, I can feel them anyway. I don't know what this meant. Feet hip width apart, little draw of belly button to spine. Shoulders on your back. On your inhale, sit down into chair pose. So hips back, tailbone to the earth slightly till you feel your belly button engaged toward your spine, and then bring your arms to cactus. Okay. You might sit a little bit deeper. Maybe you lift the heart a little bit more. And then start to play with circles here. You can go wherever feels good. You might tuck the tailbone under even as you're here, getting a little bit more into the low back. Last couple breaths. Inhale all the way up. Shake it out. Whew. A little release. And then come onto the top edge of the mat. Send all the way to your right foot or right leg. A little buoyancy on that supporting leg. Pick up the left knee. And then maybe hands on hips or out to the side for balance. We're going to do the same thing that we were doing on hands and knees, is moving that left leg. Could be right, figure 8. It might be big circles one direction, then the other. Go wherever you need to go. And then come back to center. Inhale, interlace your fingers around that left shin or knee, and then start to draw it in toward you a little bit more. Whew. On your exhale, bend into that supporting leg, round through the spine, draw your knee toward your nose. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, round. This is wobbly, it's shaky because your eyes are moving, right? They're not focused on one point. One last one. Inhale, back up. And then shake it out. Give that right leg a little shake out and release. And then we'll switch over to the left leg. Little buoyancy on that supporting knee. Belly button to spine. Pick up the right thigh and then start to play with shapes, right? Moving however you need to move, right? Making sure that you're not just going the same direction the whole time. Last breath here. Good, and then come back to center, interlace your fingers over top of that right shin, hug it in a little bit more, a little buoyancy on that supporting leg. Maybe you stay here, maybe you exhale. Think of curling into a little ball, bringing nose and knee toward each other. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, curl. Inhale, one last time. And then inhale back up, release. Shake it out. Woo! Okay, send the weight back to your right foot. Pick up the left leg, belly button to spine, knee bend. Make sure the hip's not hiking up. Bring your arms to cactus, so it's kind of like you're in Karate Kid here. Inhale here, and exhale slowly. Start to reach back for a warrior one. So feet hip width apart. Wrap the back hip forward, front hip back. Supercharge the back leg forward straight. Squeeze the bum, squeeze the top of the thigh. Right? Maybe the hips are open to that top corner. Maybe that's how you prefer to practice warrior one. That's awesome. Maybe you're trying to wrap them straight to the front edge of the mat. Wherever you need to go, inhale the arms high. As you exhale, reach the left arm forward, right arm back. So twisting to the front knee. Inhale back up. Same thing, same twist. Last one. Pause here, lean forward on that long line. Keep wrapping the left hip forward, right hip back. Keep the hands hovered. And then inhale, unwind. Woo, shake it out a little bit. Gently straighten through that front leg. On your exhale, swan dive forward. Working toward both legs straight in pyramid. So you may step that back foot up or wider from where it is. Makes the straight legs a little bit more accessible. If you have blocks or something to bring underneath your hands, tins or Tupperware containers, go where you need to go. Really actively wrap that left hip forward as you draw the right hip back though. Some of you might choose to hover it out, hands in prayer, or even hands in prayer behind the back. Last breath. Okay, belly button to spine, bring your hands to your hips, wrap the elbows toward each other, drive through the front heel, inhale, come all the way up. Bend the knees a little bit, heel into the back foot, forward slightly, bend the knees, little sway, wherever you need to go. And then start to hug the legs toward each other, scoop the left palm up to the sky, right hand can come to your hip or the lower back. Maybe it starts to reach back, that leg coming into a long extension. Really squeeze the bum. And then inhale, back up, bend the knees. Tuck the tailbone under and start to reach that left arm. Sweep it all the way forward onto the top right corner of the mat. Tailbone stays tucked under. And then inhale, come back up. I want you to just play now with a little bit of balance. Right? It might look like a yoga pose. It might look like you're in the Matrix or Cirque du Soleil. One more breath. And release. Shake it out. Okay. I'm just going to switch sides. So Weight comes to the left foot. Little buoyancy on that supporting knee. Belly bend to spine. Pick up the right knee, or without hiking up the hip. Bring the arms to cactus. And then exhale slowly. Step back for warrior one. Adjust your feet so that you maintain hip width between the feet. And then bend into that front knee. Wrap the right hip forward, left hip back. Supercharge the back leg towards straight. Maybe the hips are open. Maybe you're starting to wrap them to the top edge of the mat, or whatever feels best on your body. Inhale the arms high. On your exhale, reach the right arm forward, left arm back, twisting to the front knee. Inhale, back up. Same thing, same twist. Twist to the front knee. Inhale. One last time, exhale, twist, pause here. Lean forward on a long line, keep wrapping that front hip back, reaching through the twist. And then slowly inhale, come back to center, straighten the front leg. Exhale, swan dive forward. Again, working toward both legs straight in pyramid, so you might adjust the foot, back foot up or wider from where it is, and then really wrap that left hip forward, right hip back. Make sure that there's buoyancy in those knees. Maybe you're hovering it out. Maybe hands are on the floor or on blocks. Last breath here. Okay, belly button to spine, hands to hips, wrap the elbows toward each other, drive through the front heel. Inhale, come all the way up. Whew. Bend your knees, shake it out a little bit, and maybe shorten your stance slightly. Take a little sway. That's releasing anything that might have got stuck. And then start to hug the legs toward each other to straighten them. Think of scooping that back hip forward and under. Slightly reach the right palm up to the sky. Left hand on the hip, or maybe the low back, maybe it starts to reach back. Keep breathing. And then inhale back up. Bend the knees, sweep that right hand all the way forward and over to the left side. Tailbone tucks under. So you're really rounding into the spine, getting into the low back. Inhale up and then start to play, right? Yoga, Matrix, Cirque du Soleil. All right, if you fall, it's okay. If you don't fall, that's okay as well. Go wherever you need to go. Last couple breaths. And then exhale. Step to the top edge of the mat. Little wiggle, little shake. Inhale up to the sky. Exhale, release. Forward fold. Little wobble, little sway from side to side. Fingertips to shins. Inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, let it all go. 2 more. Bend your knees, plant your hands, and come down to hands and knees. Hips to one side, sweep the legs forward, and then exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. Little rock from side to side. All right, take your right arm out to the side. You might shift your hips right a little bit to start with, and then exhale, lower the knees to the left for a twist. You can take any variation twist. The same one we did at the start. Your knees could be stacked. You might have a block between your knees or underneath the bottom one. You might have a single leg twist. Wherever you need to go, as gentle or as deep as it needs to be. Last breath here. And slowly inhale. Come back to center. Reset your spine, your pelvis. And then maybe you shift the hips a little bit to the left as you exhale. Lower the knees to the right. Again, any variation of twist. As gentle or as deep as you need on this side. Last breath here. And inhale slowly. Return to center, reset your spine or your pelvis. Maybe there's one last thing you would like before your rest. It could be happy baby or some sort of spinal flexion or extension. And then start to think about where you would like to go for your rest. You can have knees bent, feet mat width apart, and letting the knees hang in toward each other, which would feel like a really beautiful release after all of the hip opening that we've done. Maybe you choose to rest flat on your back in Shavasana or on your side in a seated meditation, wherever you need to be. And once you've found your pose of rest, for 3 breaths, inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. A couple more, just like that. Continue breathing however you need to, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. And let go of all breath control. Let go of all muscle gripping or tension. Stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.